Hi there. I'm currently enrolled in a 3-month YouTube challenge. That is to get double your income or 3 months to monetization. Now, I'm fairly new. I'm not monetized yet, but the course I've taken has extended this to a challenge to the people in the community. So I've decided to join. And this video is not only going to help me hopefully reach some of the goals of that challenge, but I thought I would also do it a little bit differently and give you my experience as I'm going through the challenge, and also based on my challenge topic, the self-coaching tools I'm using to manage my mind through this process. So if you're not in a YouTube challenge, or if you want to join this particular challenge, I'll leave videos of the course in the description. But any kind of personal goal or challenge where you have a timeline and milestones along the way, these tools would probably help you as well. So just to let you know the details of my challenge, and I'm doing it a little bit differently. I've got my notes over here, so they're digital, which is new for me, but I'm really trying to find a way to kind of make this work, is that we will be doubling our output. And so for me, that means coming up with 2 videos a week. We will be adding 25% of time to our videos, and the importance of that is that, longer videos would then, of course, at some point, um, allow for more ads and advertising. We are supposed to practice batch filming in 4 films per session, try that at least once. And we're supposed to make one investment in our business that we could then use as a video. So in my case, it might be an investment in a mental health app and in sharing what that would look like to my viewers. And then we're also supposed to make the most of an opportunity we might find ourselves in. So rather than just, hey, the people that are doing this course are on cruise ships, like, hey, I'm on a cruise ship, so I'm going to film this, rather deliberately and intentionally finding, say, an opportunity to be the first on a cruise ship or to film a comparison. So I'll be thinking of those kind of things during this challenge. I've got a few ideas, but this particular series will be just to say what's coming up for me during this challenge and kind of how I'm dealing that. So, full disclosure, this is actually being filmed in week 2. I didn't really think of this idea until now, but I keep a daily journal, so it was pretty easy to go back and see what my thoughts were on this. And really, when I looked at that, I was excited, I was motivated. I was just coming off of being out of the country for a couple weeks and from being sick, so I thought, "This challenge is just what I need." That was my thought. And so my feeling there was excited, motivated, really gung ho about this challenge. And so what I did to start, what my action piece was to figure out what all those data points would look like for me. What would it look like to double my videos? Well, I do 1 a week now. Let's try 2 a week. What would 10%, 25% longer look like? How many do I film now? When could I film 4? All of those things. And so the tools I sort of wanted to use that week was accountability. So I shared with my business coach, Karen, and again, if you're looking for a business coach, she's terrific. So I'll put her details in the description. But anyway, I shared with Karen what my goals is. As it turns out, Karen is also trying to monetize her YouTube challenge. So this has been great. We can do this alongside each other at the same time and share, the experiences we're having and encouragement and even ideas. So that was fantastic. I also told my partner, and you may have seen in one of my other videos, I've been pretty cagey, I guess you could say, about my YouTube channel and haven't really opened up to a lot of people that I'm doing this because it's still kind of a little bit of a baby. I'm kind of nursing here. So I'm a little careful, but my husband's aware of it. And I shared with him the challenge. And so, he's on board. He's going to support. And I'm going to bring him in to kind of help with the filling. So the other tool I used that kind of helped me set myself up in this first week was this tool that I've mentioned in one of my other videos about my future self. And really, I did it for the channel. What would my channel look like in 3 months to be monetized? What is that how many videos would I have on there? How many viewers? Well, in order to get monetized, you have to have at least 400 watch hours and 1,000 subscribers. So those data points were pretty easy to imagine. But it also let me think about how am I going to feel when I'm at that place? if I've gotten monetized and if I've done all this production, what are those feelings and how can I use those feelings to kind of help motivate me through what will undoubtedly come, um, the feelings of doubt, etc. And those are like feeling really proud of myself and accomplishments. So that was week 1. So as I said, this is actually we're in week 2, so I can share with you what I'm feeling now. And the reality of what's going to be necessary has set in. And so, I have shared with you before that I work full time, so a lot of this has to kind of become sprinkled in my work day occasionally, like during my lunch hour or after work or on the weekends. And so my thought, and as I said, I was kind of getting over a sinus infection, was this is too much. When I really sat down and thought of how would I batch film, write all those scripts, come up with those ideas, edit, all those things, I started to feel like this is overwhelming. There's no way I'm gonna do that. And that was the thought. This is too much. What am I doing? What have I signed myself up for? And the action that I do when I'm thinking things like that is that I complain and I procrastinate. Neither of those things are really going to move the needle on this challenge. So deep down, I knew I wanted to keep the challenge and I sort of expected this kind of reaction. So it wasn't a complete surprise. But I wanted to use some of my coaching tools to kinda get me out of that before it became the kind of thing where I just decided to, you know, throw in the towel and not complete the challenge. And so one of the tools I use is reframing, which is really looking at that, not looking at that thought and not giving myself a hard time about that. I really try to clean up my self-talk in these situations. But again, like, what would I need to be thinking and feeling and doing in order to get motivated to do the things that are going to be necessary, the actual actions that'll be necessary? What would I need to feel to do those actions? I need to feel motivated. I'd need to feel confident. I'd need to feel able. And so the kind of thoughts that would lead to that might be I've got this. I can manage my time. I have had a busy schedule before. I can be highly productive. And this is something I really want to do. And the other tool that I realized I could put into use here was one we talked about recently, which is constraint, which meant really, if I was going to make this a priority over the 3 months, something was really going to have to give in my schedule. Now, I work full time, can't be work. And I have a family and, I have social skills, but I was able to see, kind of do some time inventory and find some empty places there where I might be watching TV or doing something that I still might enjoy and even think I deserve. But because I really want to meet this challenge and there is a certain amount of time it will take, I was willing to give some of those up in pursuit of this. So, that's what we've done here in week 2. I'm, at the tail end of here, week 2, I'm getting ready to set up to do my first batch of videos, and, I'm we'll see how that goes. I look forward to see you in week 3. Thanks.